Welcome back to another episode of Starry Scoop Live. My name is Caitlin Goulet, and before we begin, I just want to give special thanks to Westfield Community Programming, Westfield Technical Academy, Peter Cowles, Brady, LePage, and of course my special guest today, Richard Sanderson. Hi Richard, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Caitlin. How are you?
Good. I don't know about you, but observing the night sky recently has been challenging. I mean, the rain has been nonstop. I'm on the tennis team. We've had to cancel countless matches. And of course, it's been busy. I'm a junior in high school, as you know, and it's been AP exam season. And I took 4 exams this year. And let me tell you, getting over 8 hours of sleep a night is a challenge. Have you done any observing recently?
Not recently. One of the things I like to specialize in is examining the moon through my telescopes and taking pictures of it. And, I haven't really had much of an opportunity. I try to do it when the moon is high in the sky, almost overhead where the clearest part of the sky is. But when there's clouds over the sky, it doesn't matter where the moon is. You can't see it at all. So hopefully we'll have some good weather coming up soon.
Yeah. And so you've been into astronomy for a while now. That's how you developed your love of observing the moon. I see your Facebook posts all the time. Very interesting. And I'm jealous of how often you get to go out there and observe. But how did your interest in astronomy begin?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I still have a memory of my first exposure to the night sky, and it was back in the late 50s. It was sunspot maximum, which means the sun was at its most intense part of its sunspot cycle. And there were a lot of northern lights and sunspots and everything going on at the time. And I can still recall I was 4 or 5 years old, and my dad woke me up in the middle of the night and wrapped me up in a blanket and brought me outdoors late at night and to see northern lights. And it was, I guess I just never imagined that there was any reason to go out and look at the sky at night. It never dawned on me at that age that people would go out at night and look at the sky. So it was kind of a wondrous thing to be out there and looking up and seeing the stars and the northern lights. And I think that was the seed that grew over the course of my lifetime into a full-fledged hobby, and a passion and a career.
Yeah, so you've had fun with it. And speaking of northern lights, I've been chasing them for many years. My father and I will look at the K index throughout the day and go out to a dark sky and look up and try to find them. And we've been unsuccessful for many years, but a few months ago, I believe, we were at the middle school here in my hometown, Westfield, and we were observing with our telescopes. I think it was open house, and we looked up, and there they were. The sky was bright pink, and I was yelling at all the middle schoolers, guys, drop what you're doing, look away from your cell phones and just look up. It was just amazing. I didn't have any of my fancy equipment with me, or my DSLR camera. I'm not an astrophotographer by any means, but I had my cell phone, and I think I got decent shots. But with this experience that you mentioned in astronomy, how have you seen astronomy being brought into the hands of the public, whether that be young people or older people who just haven't experienced astronomy like you have?
Well, we're fortunate in the northeastern United States, because even though there's a lot of cities, so there's lights, and the sky may not be as dark as it is out west. There's a lot going on here in the Northeast. There's a lot of museums. There's a lot of astronomy clubs, a lot of universities, observatories. So there's a lot of stargazing activities going on. And of course, I'm closely involved with the Springfield Science Museum, which has a whole host of astronomy activities for amateur astronomers as well as for the general public. The Springfield Stars Club is an astronomy club that's been meeting in Springfield since 1934, believe it or not. It grew out of the Great Depression, and it's still going strong. And that's one way that people can interact with astronomy. It's has programs, monthly programs from September through May on the fourth Tuesday of each month. And they're not highly technical programs, you know, they're for people interested in science and astronomy, would get a lot out of them. But the Science Museum also has activities aimed at the general public and at children. For instance, Stars Over Springfield, which is a monthly event again from September through May. Um, Stars Over Springfield attracts people to the museum, families, children, Cub Scout groups, Girl Scout groups, lots of people who want to learn about the night sky and go up on the museum roof and look through their big telescope at the heavens and go into the planetarium. And so we have that Stars Over Springfield. We also have planetarium shows during the day and on the weekend with a historic planetarium at the Science Museum that's the oldest operating planetarium in the United States. And they recently added a high-tech Zeiss cutting-edge technology planetarium. So there's two in there. One's a historic one and one's a modern one that can do some visual wonders that the old-fashioned ones couldn't do. So, you know, those are ways that a lot of people interact with astronomy and children learn about it. And people like me get inspired by it and develop lifelong passions. And you as well, Caitlin. I know you were involved in a lot of those programs at the museum, and you still are, and you've won awards at the museum. And so, and there's also a lot of, there's conventions in the Northeast where stargazers get together. And again, you don't have to have a degree or anything. You know, it's popular astronomy, so there's no graphs or calculus or anything involved. And one of them is called Stellophane, and I know you've enjoyed that for many years, and you won a prestigious award up there last year, Caitlin, and we were all so proud of that. And Stellophane is an annual convention up in Springfield, Vermont, 100 miles north of Springfield, Mass. And it attracts close to 1,000 people every year who are interested in telescope making. They give out awards for the best homemade telescopes, and a lot of it is just general astronomy and observing and astrophotography and all that. So, you know, there's almost an embarrassment of riches here in the Northeast of activities that people can do at all different levels, whether you're a child or an adult or a beginner or an advanced stargazer. I mean, there's something for everyone.
Yeah, I think we're very lucky. I'm very lucky to have supportive parents. I started going to the museums when I was just 5 years old. I joined the Stars Club. And from my experience, these organizations are great. They offer great opportunities for new people in astronomy. But really, the backbone of all these organizations and clubs are the people that make it up. For example, Stars Club members, I know that we use Facebook as a way to communicate with one another. They'll be taking out their personal telescopes every other day, every clear night, to their neighborhoods, and they'll just set up their telescopes and let their neighbors just look up at the sky. I know Jenny Powers, a Stars Club member and director of the Springfield Science Museum, enjoys doing that, and she'll come to club meetings with stories of looking up at the moon, of different planets, and I just think that that's a great part of her community. And it's a great way to share the love of astronomy with people who haven't had that opportunity yet.
Yes, Jenny, of course, as you said, is the director of the museum, and it's fortunate that she's very interested in astronomy. So the museum is doing a lot on astronomy and developing new programs and exhibits and different things. So that's very beneficial to the astronomical community. But like you said, astronomy it's about the universe. It's about the stars and the galaxies and the planets and northern lights, but it's mainly about people. It's about our interaction with the universe. And it's about us getting to know our celestial neighborhood, so to speak. I mean, we're all familiar with our neighborhoods where we live, but we also have a celestial neighborhood, and a lot of people haven't had an opportunity to look up at the rings of Saturn or the moons of Jupiter or things like that. And so, these different groups and clubs try to provide those experiences for people, but people are the backbone, and like the Stars Club, one of our goals is to popularize astronomy and introduce people to the night sky. And most amateur astronomers are so eager to let other people look through the eyepieces of their telescope. They just love sharing the wonder and the beauty of the night sky. It's just so uplifting and almost a spiritual experience to see the celestial objects and eclipses and different events like that. But it's always more fun in the company of other people that love it. That's why the clubs are popular and conventions. And, we've all gone away to see eclipses in different parts of the country, total solar eclipses. And so I like to say, astronomy is a science, but it's also a very social activity because there's a lot to do, a lot to interact with people, make friends, meet celebrities, and all that. And another place I should have mentioned is Aruna Hill, which is in Cummington, Massachusetts. It's arunah.org. And they have observatories up there, a beautiful dark sky with lots of events going on at Aruna Hill in Cummington. It takes a little longer to get there, if you live in Springfield, but it's worth it for the beautiful dark skies up there.
Yeah, I know I'm traveling up there this weekend. It's supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow, Saturday. But Sunday night, the Aruna Hill members are putting an event together called Smart Telescope Extravaganza. It's primitive camping, so you'll be up on a hill to Nature and Science Center. So if you want to come up for the day, you can. If you want to spend the night, the day will start off with activities. We'll have a rocket building competition and then launch. That's always fun. I'm going to win. And then there'll be presentations on various astronomy topics, and they all have to do with astrophotography. And I mean, they're mostly beginner based. You don't have to have like a major camera. You can just go and enjoy the talks. And then later at night, club members will be setting up their telescopes. I went through a program called Star Watch at Aruna Hill, so I know how to use all the club telescopes. And we'll have a bunch of those set up if the skies allow. And I forgot to mention, but during the day, we will also have solar telescopes set up. So we can look at the sun, and one of their telescopes has a hydrogen alpha solar filter built within. So instead of being a typical white light solar filter, which just blocks 99.999% of the sun's light, this hydrogen alpha filter will focus in on a specific bandwidth of light. And that's where all the sun's activities occur. And you'll be able to see the sun in just detail like the photos that NASA takes. Maybe not quite as good, but it's just incredible and breathtaking. But that's during the day. At night, we'll be observing deeper sky objects. It's the dark skies are just great at Aruna Hill. And we'll also give a green laser light tour of the night sky. So we'll go over the different constellations, maybe see a few planets in the sky, and different stars. So I'm looking forward to that. I know my family's going to go up and camp, but if you just want to stay the day, it's in Cummington, Mass. You can find Aruna Hill on Facebook as well. I know that they're pretty active on there. So I know I'm looking forward to that. They have different events throughout the summer as well. If you just want to come up for an evening, if there's not an event, there's telescopes there. If you have a Star Watch member, you can reach out to me. So that's always pretty fun as well.
Yeah, Aruna Hill is a lot of fun, and it's also during the daytime. If you're not looking at the sun, there's you're immersed in nature up there. You're on a mountaintop with a forest around you, and the Aruna Hill is a clearing where the observatories are, but there's birds and animals and insects and wildflowers and all kinds of things to look at. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful environment up there. And again, you can access all of these groups on the internet and on Facebook. The Stars Club has a Facebook page called Stars Club Massachusetts. And of course, for activities at the museum, you can go on the Springfield Museum's website, which is springfieldmuseums.org. and find out information, times and dates and everything about activities. So I hope folks take advantage of that. And it's so, I learned from my experience, my parents got me involved in astronomy and they facilitated it when I was young. I used to get to take a day off from school every time there was a Gemini or an Apollo launch or astronauts walking on the moon or what have you. And those shaped my life and the trajectory of my passion for astronomy. So there's just so much to do in this area, and you know it's so important for parents to introduce their kids to this at a young age, which is something I think we both share, Caitlin. Even though you know I'm a lot older, we were both introduced at a young age by our parents, and that made all the difference in the world. And one of the greatest gifts that you can give another human being is a passion, a lifelong passion for something, and astronomy is something that can really inspire people, and especially in hard times or whatever. During COVID, I remember we took so much. It was almost therapeutic, the soothing activity of looking at the night sky and looking at the planets, and it was just a way to escape some of our earthly problems and sort of rise up into the universe and just enjoy the beauty and the mysteries of outer space.
Yeah, I mean, we were separated by 6 feet or however many miles between us. But I mean, if we all look up, we all share the same sky. So that was something that we had in common. We were able to go out just away from each other and look up at the same object. And we could still share that even through the pandemic and even now. Um, but for all the viewers at home, if you can't make it to any of these events, any of these clubs, I'd just like to mention one more resource that you can reach out to. The Starry Scoop live program that you're watching now is a branch from my Starry Scoop newsletter, which I've been writing monthly since April of 2020. It kind of stemmed out of the pandemic and acts as a connection for all amateur astronomers around this area. And it's made for beginners. It's 2 pages and it deals with current astronomy topics. So I go over things that you can observe throughout the month. So stars, planets, maybe any meteor showers that are coming up or special events like lunar eclipses, total solar eclipses. I have a small observation section where I go over either my own recent observations or someone else's that I interview. And I also have an object of the month. So if you get a new telescope or if you have a pair of binoculars and you want a little challenge to observe or just want some fun information on a certain topic, you can read that too. And Richard has helped me out a lot with that newsletter over the years. So big thank you to you, Richard. But that's a great resource. You can find it on my website. It'll be linked in the description of this video. But I just wanted to put a little plug in for that as well.
Yeah, the Starry Scoop is a wonderful resource for beginners. And if any teachers are watching, I mean, print it out and distribute it to the students. I mean, it's non-technical, but it delves into what's going on in the night sky, and Caitlin does a great job with it.
Thank you. Um, so if that's it, I'd like to close out this video by saying thank you. And to all people watching at home, don't be afraid to get into astronomy. We all share the same sky. I started back when I was 5 years old, but you can start at any point in your life. It's my passion. I can't imagine my life without space and astronomy. So sharing it with others is what I love to do. But thank you for watching. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can email me at starryscoop@gmail.com or caitlin.goulet@gmail.com. And big thank you to Richard for coming on today and being my guest. And I
Yeah,
hope
thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
of course. And I hope to see you all again soon.